I'm going to use a bass source here. We have a digitally recorded bass, which is very, very pristine, has no real life or analog sound to it. It's very, very dry. All the little plucky edges are all still intact. We're going to use the Distressor first in its normal mode to show you that we can really control the release and the attack and get rid of some of the digital plunkiness of it. I call it plasticky edge because all the little transients that get lopped off on analog tape are not lopped off on digital. But we can actually do some of the lopping here in the Distressor. And halfway through, I'm going to show you the British mode on bass, which allows you to get some additional grunge. A very useful thing sometimes when you're dealing with direct sources. I'm going to start the bass track there. This is a gentle 6:1 ratio, and you can see it's pretty invisible. I'm going to take off the distortion modes and just add some sustain. I have a attack of 4 and release of 4, which is pretty quick. This is now 17 dB of compression on the bass. And you can hear it. It doesn't change the timbre too much, just the sustain. However, if I go to Distort 3, which is a built-in distortion function on the Distressor, it increases operating levels and actually does start to flatten out the peaks and take some of the plunkiness out. I'm going to start adding some grunge here, you're going to see. Make sure I'm not overloading our levels here. It's getting close. This is without. And you can hear quite a bit of difference there. The sustain and the front edge is warmed up a little bit. If I go to an attack of 0, you're going to get rid of almost all the front edge, and you're going to get some modulation distortion, which can be useful. You can hear a little bit of grunge there. If I increase the attack to 2, that modulation crackle distortion is gone, and you've got a pretty live sounding bass here at this point. Again, I'm adding third harmonic distortion, which is the flattening of the tops and bottoms like the analog tape, and I'm using a very fast attack to grab a little bit of second harmonic in there. Let me now go to the British mode, which is one of the new options for previous Distressor owners. This is something you can have added at a later date, actually any time. We send it back to the factory and we basically add a little circuit and a switch, and this is really fun on bass. You can hear it's really grunging the bass up, and it's doing that because the attack and release time constants are a magnitude faster, and also the VCA circuitry is put into a different mode. Now a sound like this sounds over the top, but again, if you split this signal off into 2 tracks and maybe had one with the original signal and mix this distorted sound up underneath, it could almost be like a direct signal and an amp signal that you might normally track with. Again, I have a lot of control over this. By slowing up the release, I'm cleaning it up a little bit. We give you tips in the manual about how to use the release to get rid of some of the grunge, or I can add in a lot more grunge. It's a little hot there, let me turn it down. And you can hear this is an excessive amount of fuzz, but again, you mix this up underneath a direct signal, and it could be a really, really happening sound. So anyway, that's our bass demo.